How can something sound so big and be so small? This is the SD10i intelligent amp from Mooer. Let's check this out together. Now, there's no secret around here that I love real amplifiers, but I also love digital innovations. My studio is filled with digital gear as well. So something like this is the Mooer SD10i. Products like this actually excite me because I'm always interested to see what the guitar industry has to offer. Now, first off, I do want to thank Mooer for providing this and for sponsoring this video, but all opinions are my own. Now, I generally create experience videos just to show you what different gear might look like, might sound like, and how they work. I'm not here to convince you to buy anything. Purchase decisions are always yours. But something like this, I think, is perhaps a good gateway or an entry point for a young player considering to play guitar. There's 52 amps in here, there's 49 effects, you've got Bluetooth, it's rechargeable. But for veterans like me who sometimes like the finer things that the guitar industry has to offer, well, I also like convenience, and any excuse to practice is certainly a good one. So there's a lot of benefits in a product like this, and I'm going to showcase some of them today. By the way, if you don't know me, I am Dan, the self-proclaimed Lonely Rocker. I cover all things guitar and gear related. Let's get into this. One of the challenges of demoing a product like this, it is a digital amplifier with a built-in speaker. So to really know what it sounds like, you kind of need to be in the room with it. But since that's obviously not possible here, I've tried to capture the essence of what this sounds like. Now to do that, I've got a 3 microphone setup here. This is the Sennheiser MKH8020s. This is a stereo pair. These are very, very detailed microphones, really great as room mics. And on the bottom here, I have a Sennheiser MK4. Now there's a speaker on the bottom that's throwing out some lower end frequencies. So I wanted to capture everything that was coming out of the speaker. And then I'm blending the 3 microphones in mix to get a nice balance. And I'm using an EQ more as a room correction, just to try and, again, to deliver the essence of what I'm hearing here in the room. Now I've watched a bunch of different videos on this product, and some people are just using the microphone they're using to capture their voice. I figured that would sell this short. On the other hand, while these are pretty good microphones, this is not the ideal studio setup. From preset to preset, I noticed there's level differences and sometimes there was a bit of distortion. Decided to leave all of that in. You're even hearing the picking from the guitar on occasion. I am here in the room recording it. So I didn't want to oversell it either, really just designed to capture the essence of what this might sound like in the room. Just keep that in mind when you're listening to all the different audio samples. So really there's a lot to cover on this amplifier. You heard some of the tones already, but what's important to note about this device, it has 52 amps built inside using Mooer's amp modeling technology. Now Mooer has a bunch of different devices with different form factors. This being a more portable device, I mentioned it's rechargeable. You've got the built-in speaker, but you can listen on headphones, so you do have silent playing as well. But I must emphasize that you have 52 amps on this device, and this is the full spectrum of amplifiers from clean amps, edge of breakup, overdriven, classic rock, even to high gain. So there's no shortage of amp models on this device, and each one of them is customizable, all with typical controls that you would see on regular amplifiers, where you've got basic EQ, you can adjust the amount of gain, you've got presence and things like that. So it really creates a lot of versatility when you're looking to customize your sound. You can start by going through all the different amplifiers that are available, and then you can tweak them to your heart's content. Well, you've already heard some of the presets, but let's dive into some of the amplifiers that the SD10i has to offer. Now on top of the 52 amps, there's 49 built-in effects, and you've got the full spectrum of all effects in all the different categories like reverbs, delays, modulation, overdrive, and they're all customizable. And within each category, there's a lot of different options. So let's dive into some of the effects just to give you an idea, some of the effects that are built into the SD10i. So in a second, I'm going to get into the Bluetooth connectivity, of course, the app that drives this device, and some of the other benefits and features that are available. Now, the presets that come shipped with the SD10i are conveniently categorized by genre. So you can go in, and within each genre, you have a bunch of different presets. It's a great way to get to know the device when you first get it, and then you can obviously start and build your own presets. But let's check a few more of those out, again, just to show you the range of the SD10i. Being a small device, there's still a few onboard controls to make this really convenient to use if you just want to plug in and play. You can choose your amplifiers with this dial, your instrument level here, and if you're looping in audio, with something I'll talk about in a second, you can adjust that level right here. And you can also access presets with the preset button. But there's a deep dive within all of the different modules built in here, and to connect to all of that, we can use our mobile phone and the iAMP application. Connecting is really, really simple. As long as the Bluetooth is on your device, you just choose the device that you want to connect to. In this case, it's the SD10i. And connectivity is as simple as that. Now, once in, there's a real treasure trove of features in the application, but starting with the amplifiers, for example, you've got all of the amp controls, gain control, some EQ, presence, level, things like that, and you can do that through all the different amplifiers. Now, with the 49 effects, there's different categories, there's effects within the categories, and each one of those effects has a lot of different unique parameters, easy to access through the application, as well as all the other features. You may have limited access to some of that on here. There's no shortage of access to all of the features on the SD10i through the accompanying app. Now with OTG support, you can take the SD10i and connect it to your mobile device so you can record the audio right from the amplifier right into your device. Now in this example, I'm using my iPad. The SD10i is connected via the USB-C connection right into the iPad. So what you're hearing here in essence is like a digital connection from the SD10i recording that audio directly into the iPad. Now my voice that you're hearing right now is being recorded by a separate source. Just want you to be clear on what you're hearing. But if you like sharing clips to social media, or you just want to record the tones coming out of your SD10i, the OTG support is really handy. And one feature that makes this a really great practice tool is there is a drum machine built inside with all sorts of different beats and all different genres and different categories. So whether you're practicing your scales or you're writing, it's a real handy feature to have built in. Certainly as a practice tool, it's fun to have some kind of rhythm to keep it interesting. Or if you just want to jam out and keep yourself in time, well, the drum machine certainly comes in handy. So I've already talked about Bluetooth connectivity and how easy it is to connect the app to the device. But the bonus of that Bluetooth connection is now that your phone is connected to this, suddenly any audio that you have on your device will play out through the speaker. So you can use this as just a standard Bluetooth speaker. If you're listening to music, you can play your music through the speaker here, a rechargeable speaker that's easily something you can take on the go. But as a jamming tool, if you put some backing tracks, or if you're on YouTube, for example, there's a lot of backing tracks there. So what I did to demonstrate that is I took a backing track from one of my songs where just some drums and bass. I played it with the standard media player. I mixed in some guitar and just jammed out for a little bit. So ultimately, who is this for? Well, let's consider some of the features and then I'll let you know my thoughts on that. So overall, we have a digital amplifier with a built-in 10-watt speaker. We've got 52 amps, we've got 49 effects, we've got Bluetooth, we can record to all mobile phones, we can use this as a Bluetooth speaker. We've got a battery with a great capacity on here. It's pretty small, we can put it in any bag. I think something like this, for sure, if you're a new guitar player looking to get started and you don't have a big budget, I think this is a good entry point because you're going to get an experience with a device that has a lot of different tones, a wide variety of tones and effects to give you an idea how that all works together. Certainly as a gateway, into the next chapter of your guitar playing life, but certainly as a starter guitar player, would be a good place to start. Now, you can't jam with a drummer with this thing. It's not that loud, but you get good volume out of here. If you're practicing with another guitar player or just jamming with a small ensemble, practicing, we've seen the looper, putting backing tracks in here. It's a real versatile device for anyone who's learning or practicing. Now, speaking of practicing, someone like myself, I can't lug a 100-watt or 50-watt tube amp all around the house. So having something like this certainly is convenient. If I'm going to sit in the backyard and play some guitar, again, using the speaker, but you've got the headphone jack, so you can also play silently. There's enough tones on here to keep you interested, and certainly the ability to loop in backing tracks using the built-in drum machine. That certainly makes this a very, very convenient practice tool. So ultimately, I really think this is a good device for anyone. I've really enjoyed using this, and this is my honest opinion. I was really surprised when I saw it. It's very well built and a lot of fun. But perhaps you're looking to graduate to something a little bit more substantial. Well, on the screen, I have a video to the Mooer GS1000. That's their full modeler. If you want to take it to the next step, if you want to be able to capture real amplifiers, it can do that here. So why don't you check out that video if you're interested. But remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll. Hang on, I think my tea's ready. Well, I'll catch you in the next one.